Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today I really want to look at something positive, like really what is happening in a positive way in your life. Even if we may explore certain things that have been challenging or even things that you need to be aware of to make the most of it, the emphasis is decidedly positive. That's why I thought I'd use one of my most positive feeling tarot decks, the Chibi Tarot here. It just radiates happiness, positivity, kind of getting back to the simple and important things in life, that kind of energy. So that is the tarot that we're going to be using, and we're also using major arcana cards from that tarot for the choice. Underneath those are intuitively chosen cards from the Witchy Woman Oracle, which is a song oracle that I use quite often. People may be familiar with it. So it, with the first card there, is going to help us work out the sort of area or areas in life where the positive energy is coming. Now, the thing about the song energy is that it can be challenging or it can be positive. You know, there's both within that deck. So what is in the intention of this reading is that if we get a challenging sort of a song, then that is something that is closing out, a challenge that you have now conquered. And we will look at how that is and what will come from that. So it's a kind of congratulations, tick, done. And then if it's positive, it's a new energy coming in. So it's either the release of one old energy to allow new energy to come in, or new energy coming in, or, you know, maybe two of one or one of each. We'll just see what comes up. So as I said, beyond that, there's probably not much else that I need to say to introduce it. Beyond that, the Major Arcana card gives us a little bit of an idea of some of the positivity energy. So for pile number 1, we have the Judgment card. For pile number 2, we have the Strength card. And for pile number 3, we have the Hanged Man card. So if the energy or the pictures or the tarot card involved or whatever calls you, that's great. If you always go to pile 2, that's great. And if you want to go to more than one pile, that's fine too, because there could be messages in all of them for you about wonderful new energies coming in. Whatever feels right to you, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you come to the reading with Judgment. Judgment to me is a choice card. It is often a calling. It's part of this new energy may have to do with something that's really going to matter to you, something that's really important for your life path, a calling energy to make a decision to move forward. Also sometimes the end of a karmic cycle and the beginning of something usually better. It sort of then is followed by the world that fully closes something out. So it doesn't surprise me that one of the two of these songs is potentially a song that is more about letting go of a challenging energy. And the other one looks like a very positive thing coming in. And why I say that is one of the songs is Staying Alive, and that is a challenging sort of energy. It's a song about just getting by, just keeping up with things. So I would say that there is an end to a sense of, at its worst, sort of desperation, like kind of just one day after another and just wondering when things are going to work out, through to, you know, there could just have been something that you were kind of just keeping going and just, you know, getting across the finish line on something that felt like staying alive, that felt like a slog each day, and that's really complex and it's difficult and all that kind of thing. So there is definitely a closing out of that, and it's very interesting. This could be if you were, for instance, looking for a job, or you're in a job you didn't like and you've been waiting for a promotion or something else. This is literally the call that's coming to bring that in, to close one cycle out and bring in a new one. If you're worried financially, it's the decision, the choice, the information, the shift or whatever that takes you from that to More Than a Feeling, which is a very romantic song. So certainly these could be about two different things. Or if you felt like in your love life you're kind of like just getting by and it's not really what you want, and then you find that the right one comes in, the destined one comes in, it could be around that as well too. So it'll be interesting to see what we get with tarot, to see whether this is more kind of your day-to-day living and this is more emotional, or whether they're both around some sort of thing to do with material things, or whether they're both around something romantic. So we'll go a little bit by what the tarot tells us for that. But there's certainly a big shift, and it makes sense with Judgment, as I say, a end of a cycle where it just feels like everything was a hard slog, and it's not going to be like that anymore. And whether it literally is that something comes as an offer to you, or whether it's you just have a sense of the calling, you sense the energy is now opening up, and you know it, you just know it in your soul. It's more than a feeling. It's like it's a sense of new energy. Look at this golden wave that seems to be sort of coming forward. There's sort of sense of now it's coming together. So I think that's a very strong idea that you're moving from surviving into thriving. That's the message that we're getting here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of tarot to have a look a bit more, just to try and work out what each of these are. Then we're going to have a look at what may still be hidden that you don't see yet that will help around the choice or the action or the call. And then we're going to look at one small change across both of them that really will help you bring the positive benefits in. And then we'll use some other oracles to look at other things. But we're just going to get 3 cards for each, just a little bit more about what are we looking at here? What is coming in, or in this case, what is closing out to allow something better to come in? So for staying alive, we have Justice reversed, 6 of Wands. So that's the energy coming in to show that you're going to win at something. 6 of Coins, okay? And then when we have More Than a Feeling, with this very positive wave of just knowing energy, the Hermit reversed, the 5 of Coins reversed, the 4 of Coins. Okay. I do think quite a lot of this has to do with who you are in the world materially rather than romance. None of that feels really romantic, which is fine. It's not a problem. If you are looking for romance, and this is saying something very stable is coming up that takes you out of feeling like a hermit and takes you out of feeling lonely. So it doesn't preclude it. But I just sort of feel that a lot of this is talking about something that helps you materially. What is ending is some sort of injustice. You have been kind of in a position of just getting by, just getting through. And this is saying that is ending. And literally, if you were looking for a job or looking for a promotion, the blockage to you getting the contract and doing that is finishing. You are going to win. Like, it finishes because you are successful with something. Someone chooses you, someone is a great new boss, someone is a benefactor. If you were looking for something, not in terms of work, but in terms of you've been doing a lot of creativity and you're really trying to start to get your own thing going, your own business, your own creative work or whatever, again, there was a block to anything, but now you're recognized and someone wants to be your patron. So this is a move towards better financial security, I think, and being recognized. So the just getting by is ending, and it shows up with this. And this is probably an offer from a job or a patron or something like that that recognizes you. Over here, if we keep these as being together, it requires you to be more out in the world. It's taking something that matters to you spiritually. This is why it's more than a feeling. And it's finding your people. And it's then you have this solid foundation. But as I say, for some of you, and we'll see if cards, when we're talking about what is still hidden, if anything, again, looks romantic or whatever, this could be read romantically as a separate thing to this, because this feels very much like being recognized and winning in something material. But this could be, as I say, no longer being alone, finding something stable. That's more than just an attraction. So it could be that both things come in. It could be that this follows this, or they could be connected. But either way, there's a sense of you not feeling like you're left out in both of them anymore, or that you're just struggling and not seen. You are far more seen, which is really great. So let's get 3 cards for what is still hidden or still has to come to the surface for you to fully understand what's going on here. So around the staying alive, the closing out of that energy. King of Coins. Okay, it's very material, this. Queen of Swords. Knight of Coins reversed. Okay, and then when we say what is hidden around the more than a feeling, 9 of Cups reversed, the Happy Squirrel card reversed, so that's an additional card in this deck, Knight of Wands reversed. Now that's interesting, the Knight's reversed. So there's a little bit further to go for both of these, but that's okay, the call has to come. What's sort of still hidden about this is that there is something that is very long term and that you're going to really grow into. It's something that's going to is recognizing you first, kind of intellectually. This is a group, an organization, a patron or whatever who thinks very similarly to you. And that might be the thing that's surprising. That's the thing that kind of brings the call out. You are meant to be materially well off. You probably don't feel like it at the moment, but you are meant to be that way. But what it's also saying is that this is a step in a direction. It's not the final step. So you're not going to be asked necessarily in this to sort of like say, okay, this is the job I'm going to be in for a very long period of time, or this is the only way that I'm going to make money or be seen. There's something almost temporary about it. Doesn't mean it's temporary and you go back to feeling like you're just struggling, but it feels like this is a stepping stone to something else. But it's the right direction. It aligns with what you believe and it aligns with material goals. But even to have the King of Coins there and then we have the Knight of Coins, it says that this has an end in itself and then you will dream up something else and move on. So it does have a feeling of it's just a step in your career, or it's something like, you do creative things, and this is my art exhibition, and I've been finally recognised, and I have an art expedition, and I do really well. And then as a result of that, I move on to do the next one. There's something like that about it. Or this job is great, but I know that in 2 years' time I want to be doing even more. So, but it's in the right direction, but it's not the end in itself. What is still hidden about this is whatever this is, whether this is connected to that and you finding out, and this is why this is temporary and there's more, or whether this is love, and it could be love with Nine of Cups turning up. What is still really to be brought out is, what do you really want in this space? I feel like this is something different. I feel like it is like emotional or something like that. And it's almost because you've been so tied up in this, because it's been such a struggle, you cease to believe in your dream, or you haven't really thought about what you want. There's a wild card that wants to come up. There's sort of something that wants to manifest for you, but it's going to slow down until you really know what you want it to be. So it's like, this is saying coming out into the world, starting to find your people or your person, feeling that, yes, with Four of Pentacles, it feels firm, but you don't know what you want it to be. So it's asking you to think about that. So then it'll be interesting to see if we bring the two things together, knowing that this is a stepping stone and knowing you really have to define more about what you want. You get the calling, you know you're on the right track, but what do you want to do with it? What one small thing would make you much better get something out of this? Six of Cups, Eight of Swords reversed, Ace of Swords. Okay. It says go back to something. Could be a childhood dream. It could be an early ambition. It could even be a childhood sweetheart that comes back, depending upon, how this is playing out. But go back to when you were really young. Go back to something you really wanted. There was a way you looked at this, or how you believed about it, or felt that you couldn't do it, that is freeing now. It's there that you will get the inspiration that brings all this together. And you are going to need to do that at some point. The first step for this is just to enjoy the recognition and getting somewhere, and just to feel that you're starting to connect to the right people, whether it's in love or otherwise. But you had a dream really early in the piece. This is asking you to go back and liberate that dream, because its time has come. Like there is an opportunity. It's like a portal for you right now. So that's very, very positive, which is what we wanted. But it is genuinely saying some positive energy is coming in for you. So let's get a couple of personal predictions cards around each of these things as well too, to see what else this is telling us. So around the staying alive, the closing out of that, and the moving forward. Burdens and responsibility. I think this is some of what you're leaving behind is burdens and responsibility. But remember, if you're recognised, you sometimes take those on. So again, you need to know, like, for how long will I do this? What are the terms that I would do? So I think for many of you, you might have maybe worked or done something before, and you kind of took on more than you were being justly recognised or paid for. So this is part of what you're moving away from. Challenges ahead. Okay, so it's saying that it's not like this is telling you that it's absolutely all smooth sailing from here. The challenge may be knowing what I do next, how I want to grow further. So I do feel this is kind of about work. I feel like it's a really great thing coming in, and the worst thing is done, but there's something about understanding burdens and responsibility and the challenges of the new role to help you decide how long is this the right one. But you'll put more in the driver's seat, I think. It could also be saying that you're moving out of that mindset where everything's a burden, everything seems like a challenge. So it just depends on who's come to the reading as to whether that's more what you're leaving behind, or whether these are the things that you have to kind of take into account for the next, being successful, being seen has its own burdens and challenges. What about more than a feeling? Release, letting go. So this is letting go of old ways of thinking and of being a bit hidden away. But it's also, I think, asking you, what did you let go of? What did you let go of that you really cared about in terms of love or connection or whatever it was? Because it might be asking you to examine that to get the full thing out of this. Thought and strategy, yes, it's asking you to think carefully about this. What do you release and let go? How does the release and letting go of that impact this? These things are kind of connected. So given that, let's use the Connections Oracle and just get a message from Spirit for you about each of these. This could be from Spirit or it could be from a past loved one, because this deck is mediumistic as well as Spirit. So around the staying alive, the shift energy there. Commotion, making a big fuss. Okay, like this is, make a big fuss about this. Celebrate it. Like it could be that making a fuss about an injustice or something is what gets you recognized. It depends on how this is playing out. But I think this is like this colorful bird, like show all your colors, all the feathers. Make a fuss about it. And if something doesn't seem right about the challenges, call it out early and move forward. Because as I say, you're recognized here more. The way you think is recognized more in whatever this is. And what about the message around more than a feeling for you? Impulsive, reckless behavior. Okay, this is why you have to think about what you're doing here. Because there's something, like this could very well be love, and I think it's got a lot of promise. But even if it isn't love and it's more you getting more out in the world and showing more what you think, because if you're kind of like, if these two are connected, it might be about you getting yourself seen in some way. So it is saying, think it through. Don't just be reckless and go back to what it is that you were really wanted to do. That will give you the clarity. So there is a little bit of a warning in there, just to be aware of how to use this energy to your best benefit, because anything new and wonderful you go into has its own burden. So you need to sort of like know how to use that energy in a way that it isn't just making a lot of noise, but actually provides something good for you. Okay, let's see what the Astro Dice say. One for each of these. So the energy that's around leaving behind the staying alive feeling is Mercury, so communication, in 11th house in Libra. So this has a lot to do with the groups that you're around, being seen within groups. It could be in social media. This could be you really getting known and recognized somewhere in social media. If any of you are doing something like that, you're going to have a breakthrough after it's felt like a struggle. Otherwise, there's something about aligning. It could be about social justice issues that you actually get recognized for, because the justice is reversed, and then we have the Six of Wands, because like Libra of all the signs is the one that's most concerned with that and concerned with community and so forth. And the 11th house is all about that kind of energy. But it's what you communicate, your mind. That's why we had the Queen of Swords. Your mind is a very key thing here. And it's also your mind needs to focus on that. Focus on how you take this energy that's working for you to help others and connect you with the right people. That's the best way to use this energy. And then with the more than a feeling, we get the moon, which does, I do think for many of you this might be a relationship coming in Virgo, in the 11th house. So again, it is connected with people. This is all about finding your people, though I think you're going to potentially find someone who's either a very good partner in a professional way, a very good partner in an emotional way. But there's a lot of energy to uncover here with the moon and to integrate with Virgo in the 11th house. So it's kind of integrating your emotional side with what you're doing with groups more generally. So this most looks to me like if you aren't already in a happy relationship, and if you are, then this is more just about finding your people and finding your audience or finding your connections. It kind of looks like fixing an issue materially brings in someone into your orbit. That is the integration of your emotion into this sort of wave of calling energy for you. Okay. So let's look for a sign or synchronicity again for each of them for when this is really kicking in. So around clearing out the energy from staying alive. This could turn up in dreams, in meditations. It could just be you hear a song lyric with something about it. You could see a poster with a picture of it. Something could come up on YouTube in your recommendations that aligns with it. So just keep an eye out for it. So this, we have neon sign. Oh, we probably don't need to keep much of an eye out for it. It's probably going to be pretty obvious. I think it's going to really shine out for you. So it'll be obvious. Any kind of synchronicities around this are likely to be obvious, but it might literally be, if you are walking at night and you see a neon sign, pay attention to what it says. Pay attention, particularly if it's one of those rolling ones that says something, it might be telling you something. So pay attention to that. But I think it's going to be obvious. I think it's saying you don't really need much of a synchronistic sign, because it'll be really obvious when this breakthrough occurs. What about around more than a feeling? Okay, death. Now that doesn't mean actual death. It doesn't mean someone's dying. Death in tarot is choice, transition, and so forth. It is releasing the past. That's why it's saying releasing and letting go. There is something in this. It's to go back to what you really wanted, but releasing some of the limitations or the disappointments of the past, I would say, to allow something better to come in. It's a new beginning coming in, but you're going to need to release and let go, I think, old emotional energy that was associated with it. Okay, so if we've got that as our map, what we want to do is close out with one last synthesizing message. So I'm going to ask you to choose a number between 1 and 5, and I'm just going to deal out tarot cards from another deck. And this will be a synthesizing message depending upon which number you choose. So if you need to pause, because I'm about to deal out now. So for number 1, we have Queen of Wands. For number 2, we have the Sun. For number 3, we have the Devil. For number 4, we have the King of Wands reversed. For number 5, we have the Six of Wands reversed. Okay. So if you chose number 1, this is all about you self-actualizing, really being seen for who you are. And it's a highly charismatic energy. So your charisma, the work you've done on yourself and your creative energy is what's going to bring these sort of opportunities in. I find it interesting in this deck, though, that she is covering her eyes with the flowers. I feel that relates to this side. I feel the general energy brings in this change, and then it's kind of open your eyes when you see this to see the other connections, whether it's love or whatever it is, because it's more maybe than you think, but it's about you self-actualizing. If you chose number 2, this is you getting on your life path, really getting on your life path. And that's one of the reasons why things start to get easier. Connects to a karmic matter for you, but it's very much on your life path and it's exceptionally positive. If you chose number 3, this has something to do with work, I think. It has all big power, big responsibilities, big connections. And one of the things that's important, and this might be why we had the burdens and so forth, it might be particularly for those who chose number 3 here, make sure that you are using the powers of the world in a way that works for you and for your life path, and not that you are getting trapped by it. So it's sort of like, don't let a release on one thing become a trap in a different way. And this might be particularly here where this is about who are the right people to connect with and how do you get back to that 6 of Cups, what you really wanted to do. If you chose number 4, probably some of the injustice or issue you've had to deal with has been like the illegitimate use of power or narcissistic energy or something like that. So I think this is pointing to that energy leaving your life so that you can be more seen. But it could also be for some of you that you are in a very competitive or ego-oriented profession. So be aware of that and be careful of that in who you connect with. And if you chose number 5, this is your time to be seen. This is why we had the Six of Wands here. You really have had an injustice of not being seen or being sort of valued at your worth. That is about to shift. So if you start to realize that, start to think about what you want to create and how you want that to feel. So very positive, as I wanted it to be. Lots of good options for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with strength, which to me would suggest that this is something about your own personal strength, abilities, and so forth that is bringing this in. And looking at the 2 songs as representation of the energy, I think it's your strength and ability to take things that have been, accept them, learn from them, and then go with the flow, basically. So because we have Yesterday and Let It Be. I mean, it's quite interesting. They're both Beatles songs. I don't know whether that means anything. It might be that for some of you, you really like that sort of music, or it might say something about the age group of some of the people who come to the reading. I don't know, but I just think that's interesting that they're both very well-known Beatles songs. Both very simple and beautiful and strong in their own way. So I think that's interesting. But I do think that this is saying this is an energy almost to let go of that you're closing out, because Yesterday as a song is a little bit melancholic. So it's a little bit of a challenge. It's a looking back and wanting what has gone. So I think you're coming out of that to allow new things to come in and to have been strengthened by it. And then with Let It Be, there's a much more accepting, there's a spiritual sort of thing of, I'm going to actually move forward now. See how the dog is looking into the future. I am accepting what has happened and I'm going to move forward. So I think when we're looking at the positive energy, you are really shifting out of a melancholic and rather nostalgic sense to find a new direction going forward. And there's a deeply spiritual side of this, I think, particularly with Let It Be. You really are, you're coming into the strength of being able to see that there's a kind of perfection to what has happened and that you need to look to the future. So I think everything gets better from here because there is a releasing of what was seen as a block before. So what we're going to do is we're going to use tarot and we're going to get a little bit more information on each of these. Then we're going to look at what is still hidden around it, or we still haven't seen. And then we're going to look combined one small thing that could really turbocharge the strength energy here and you moving into this much more peaceful sort of future. So let's see what we get about yesterday, which I think is you are releasing a yearning for the past that is past now so that you can look to the future. And you have the strength to do that now. I also get the sense for some of you, when you let go of something in the past, it may return to you. So some of you, if this is about long lost love or something like that, or if it's grief in some way around somebody who's passed on, I'm just getting really strongly that they're still with you in spirit if they've passed on, or if it's a long lost love or something, they may come back, or you have further things, but you've got to wait to see what would happen. I just feel that with the infinity sign. So let's have a look and see with yesterday, a little bit more about that. 8 of Wands reversed, 8 of Swords reversed, 9 of Cups reversed. Okay. This is sort of explaining why you've been in that situation, I think. Knowing that you're coming out of it, that's the point of this reading. And then Let It Be, what's going on with that. 5 of Swords. 10 of Swords reversed, the Empress. Okay, all right. So this is saying that this is the energy you're coming out of, a reluctance, a slowing down, of freeing yourself from some sort of mental pattern or some sort of mental prison you had. And some of that is because you almost didn't have a new dream to replace it. It's certainly something that came close to what you wanted, but in reality, if you look at it, it wasn't exactly what you want, or it might have been right for that time, but it's not right. It's not the right dream now. So this is but it's been hard to let it go because it's sort of, you slowed that down because it came close. So there was something that came close to being what you wanted. It's not in your life anymore. Or it was a relationship that mattered to you a lot and it's been really hard to let it go in one form or another. But you need to do that, and you've realised you need to do that because you're denying yourself your wishes going forward by always looking into the past. So then we have the walking away. So these are very much connected, the walking away from a battle. And that's what the Five of Swords is, knowing that there's still some stuff you can take from that. Usually with the Five of Swords, we do have some of the layer, the battleground that we can move away with, just like this character is carrying some swords, but it's time to move on. The drama is over. You are meant to be coming into new growth, and you sense that and know it. I get a very strong Persephone-Demeter thing here in the sense of, the story of Persephone and Demeter. Persephone is abducted by into the underworld by Hades, and Demeter has to go and negotiate her return, but she only returns in a cyclic way. So this may be part of what I feel here. I feel like it is possible for some of you, if there's something that you were reluctant to let go of, it may return to you eventually, but the only way it can do it is you getting to that sort of Zen level of letting it go and seeing what grows, from the strength that you have. And it will either be that returning or maybe something like it, but better. So there is that energy there with the Empress. But otherwise, I think this is, you're heading into a period of growth. And it was hard to go into that period of growth if you're hanging on to something before. So new energy, new creativity, new growth, new abundance is coming in. So what is still hidden around this for you? 2 of Coins reversed, the Chariot, the High Priestess. Okay. Yeah, there is the spiritual element. And then around Let It Be, the Moon reversed, 3 of Coins reversed, Ten of Cups. See, you're heading somewhere really lovely. And that's yet to be fully seen. I don't think you fully see that is coming, but that is the energy of let it be. It's not sort of an energy of everything's fine now. It's like, I trust now. I trust that something's going to come, and it's very much guaranteeing that. So what it's saying right now, you are letting go of the past because you know it's not quite the right dream anymore, but you don't really know yet what you want or which direction you're going in. You have to become more spiritual, or you're heading into your spirituality, the let it be thing, to allow that to happen. You know that you've got to go into the mystery of the future. You're strong enough to do it, rather than sitting in the past. So you know you have to move forward, but you don't know exactly what you're moving forward to. And this is saying the same thing. Something still needs to be uncovered. For many of you, if this is around love, it may be that there's a friendship that's going to shift that you wouldn't have even seen, or you didn't see because you were sort of so hung up on the past. Otherwise, there's a shift from not working with or being around the people that can collaborate with to finding your people. So it just depends on what this is about, whether it's like a career, vocational, creative thing, or whether it's love. Most likely love, I have to say, only because these songs are kind of a bit about that. But there's I think for some of you, there's a friendship that it might be able to shift and become more, but you don't even see it at the moment because you're sort of hung up on someone in the past. But that's shifting. So what the one little change between these things really brings forward the positivity for you. King of Swords reversed, Six of Wands, Four of Wands. Okay. Yeah, I think it's recognizing there's something in this past, whether it's like a career thing or a love or whatever it is. It was like it wasn't the right thing for you. It wasn't aligned with the way that you think. There may even have been lies associated with it, or the wrong use of, it might have been manipulative and a bit gaslighty. Like knowing that and recognizing that and saying, I want to be recognized and I want to find the right people to be with, the right love. That's all. It's like understanding what was wrong. And it might have only been a small thing, or it might have been significant, but whatever was wrong in that picture, why it really wasn't the dream you thought it was, or it wasn't the dream person, that's all that's really necessary to fully do this. It allows you to then go, now I can look for and recognize the good outcome. So it is meant to come, like you are meant to have this good outcome. So let's use a little bit more in terms of oracles. Let's get some personal predictions around each of these for some more information. So around the letting go of the past, increased intuition, the High Priestess. The more that you go into your spirituality, the more your gut instinct is going to be right. It's like you are going into flow, and this is a strength you have. It may be not even a strength you've realized. This might be for some of you a way of realizing how psychic you are. And unexpected expense. Okay. It might have been I think actually your intuition will tell you what the expense it is of living in the past. How much it cost you to be there, either literally or emotionally. So allow yourself to understand that. Don't give yourself a hard time. Just use it as the momentum to get with the flow of going into the future. And so then with that, we have adventure and travel. Yeah, see it as an exploration. You might literally go on a trip or adventure or travel, and that might be the expense. You might go, you know what would really make me feel like I was new again? It would actually be taking a holiday, in which case do it. Do it, as long as you can afford it, of course. And changing direction. Yeah, the main thing is this is all about changing direction. The direction you are on is not the direction you need it to be. Let's see what Spirit wants to say using the connection deck. This has either messages from past loved ones, if they want to say something, or from your spirit guides. So around yesterday, swift, quick outcome. Okay, so I think this is like, once you realize this, it goes very quickly. You can move very quickly. And your intuition is very, very fast thought as well as psychic. So like the more that you tap into that, the quicker you come to knowing it. Now, if this is to do with letting go of a past loved one, it might have been one that is hard because it happened suddenly, that it was so unexpected. The letter V might be important. And then for the let it be energy, control, power struggle. Okay. This is you. The biggest thing for you actually is that to just let it be and to just trust, one has to let go of a bit of control and just see it as a kind of an adventure and see what happens. Part of like yearning for the past, you might have felt more in control of something in the past, or you might feel like if you could win back something, you have control. This is getting into your depths. You see a Scorpio here, like it's like getting into the depths of your emotion and understanding sometimes you just need to let go and let it be, because control is the one thing that's like stopping you from making the change. So bear that in mind. Okay. Let's also get some astro dice and just see the energies around these. So around letting things go, we have the North Node in Cancer in the 4th house. Okay, so this is firstly heading towards something very natural for you because Cancer rules the 4th house. So it's getting back to something that is very natural. It is saying, this is why I feel like there's a kind of return. It doesn't necessarily mean if this is about a lover, I don't think you're going to end up with the same lover again. I think you're going to find something that grows more, unless they've grown a lot in strength as well, and then it shifts. But this is getting to who you really are and the people and the home life and all of that kind of thing that you really want. And it is what you yearn and it is what you're heading towards, and it's quite karmic. So again, trust in the flow of this. You're heading towards your right home. And then with Let It Be, we have Saturn in the 7th house in Aquarius. Okay, this is all about the ideas. This is telling you how to let go of the control. Saturn wants control. So Saturn's trying to control your relationships, but Aquarius allows you to let go and make it more transpersonal. If you think less about what are the key relationships around me, how do I have the ones that I want, what do I do with ones that I feel I've lost, and you think more about humanity as a whole and your connection with that and being with the flow of that, that will bring the right person in, and it'll bring a karmic connection in. As I keep saying, there's something about the infinity symbol up there that actually really matters to this reading. So it's letting it go because the right thing is coming in and it's going to be really good. Pile 2. Okay. So we're just going to look for a couple of signs, synchronistic signs about this. So when you're fully letting this go, when you're in the flow to allow the good things to come in. Synchronistic signs could turn up in dreams, in meditation, shamanic journeying. They could turn up on a T-shirt that somebody you walk past in the street, in a song lyric. Like, be really open, but know that when you see that, you're starting to let go, you're starting to let it be. So around the yesterday, letting go of the past energy, the sign for you is, oh, now that's interesting, union. So seeing others, it may be meeting someone else that even if they're just a friend or whatever, the connection is there. Or it could be that you start to think about love, but you're thinking in the future and what your desire would be rather than in the past where it isn't. So I do think a lot of this is about love. But, you know, you could hear love songs. You could see that. You could watch, you know, suddenly rom-coms could turn up on your Netflix recommendations. I mean, who knows? It's something like that. What about Let It Be? Ritual. Okay, so this is the very spiritual side of it. So if you dream about rituals, if you think about spiritual protection, if you actually feel the urge to do some rituals to kind of bring that energy in, you might see, you know, as I say, you know, something coming up on your YouTube feed that's about rituals, any of those sort of things. If you see rituals in meditations, in dreams, pay attention to that. This is bringing you into a spiritual practice. There is something spiritual about this and really opening up your intuition. It may also be saying that instead of looking for synchronicities, the best things you can do is work on rituals each day or each night, maybe before you go to sleep, whatever works for you, as a kind of a ritual, something that is regular to tap into your intuition. Okay, so pile 2, we're just going to close out with a synthesizing message. So I'm going to use a different tarot deck. I'm going to ask you to choose between 1 and 5, and that will be your synthesizing message. If you need to pause, then do so, because I'm just about to deal them out. So for number 1, we have 3 of Cups reversed. For number 2, we have Knight of Cups reversed. For number 3, we have the Hierophant. For number 4, we have Justice reversed. For number 5, we have 9 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, this is a very strong relationship energy here. It's been all the way through. If you chose number 1, then it could be a friendship. It could be something like that that's lost and finding new friendship. Otherwise, it could be that friendship issues actually were part of the problem. It's interesting that we have the two female characters there. It could be that for some of you, it doesn't have to be female. It's just like two characters there. It could be that friends were an issue in past relationships or past connections, and like that needs to be let go of so that you can move into something better. If you chose number 2, then I think for a while you felt romance wasn't in your life and so forth. This is about letting go of the past so that a new offer can come in. If you chose number 3, it's very spiritual, but it may even be moving away from one spiritual way of looking at things in one spiritual community and going to another one, because maybe there was something that was wrong or not the right fit in the spiritual community you were in. Otherwise, this is something that could bring about marriage, in one form or another, or something around that. So just depends on what this reading means to you. If you chose number 4, you may have been coming out of a divorce and you may still have been yearning back to the idea of the relationship, or some other thing. It could have been you lost a job and you're yearning back and you're feeling aggrieved. But whatever it is, when you let it go, you can clear that energy out and bring in something that is better for you. And if you chose number 5, this is ultimately about finding your people in your community. You may well find romance in it if you're looking for it, but otherwise this is moving away. Maybe you felt that you were part of a community before, but you had to move away, you had to work somewhere else, you're nostalgic for that. But there is a new community waiting for you, a new set of connections, and it will be good, pile 2. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it resonated for you. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Hanged Man, which to me suggests that something about the new positive energy coming in. Either it has taken a bit of time to get there and you've been a bit stuck and you were waiting for a different perspective or a different way of doing things, or it's profoundly spiritual sort of connection and understanding of divine timing and when things are right. But it certainly does mean some sort of change or shift, because that's what the Hangman's all about. It's like we can't stay with the same perspective. We need to sort of move. We need to think about things. And if you've got the Hangman, it's really interesting then what we've got the 2 songs. We've got changes. So this is literally the change that follows that. It's like now we're getting a different perspective. Now we're changing things. And that's a good energy, new things, changes, all of that kind of thing. But then we also have Time in a Bottle. And Time in a Bottle, I mean, it's a gorgeous song, is a very romantic sort of song about, if we only have this amount of time, I really want to spend as much of it as possible with you, and I want to keep it like something precious. So I sort of think this is a kind of a shift in perspective, a change in your life or something like that. That is positive, because that's what this is about. But at the same time, it's one that allows you either to spend more precious time with precious people, or which really shows to you the value of certain relationships or connections in your life, so that in changing, you actually start to use time a bit better, rather than just slowing things down, rather than losing anything. Because there's a kind of a sense in Time in a Bottle about, I don't want to lose that which is precious. I want to spend the time there. But there is an impulse here to change and do things differently. So it's a kind of a really interesting positive energy of allowing change and perspective and all that kind of thing in your life, but also protecting that which is precious. So I think these 2 work very much in harmony, but we'll see what we get with tarot. We're going to get some cards for each around a bit more about what this is saying as a positive energy for you. Then we're going to have a look at what is still hidden, what is still to emerge in the positive energy. And then we're going to put the 2 together and we're going to work out what would actually make this work together. So I just paused for a minute because there's some people hanging around outside and I don't know why they're here, so I may have to pause again. So sorry if there seemed to be a bit of a jump there. But yes, this is the sort of energy. So we're going to have a look at those 3 aspects. So firstly, a little bit more about each. So a little bit more about the change energy that kind of gets you out of the hangman stuck feeling. The Lovers, the World reversed, the Wise Cat, which is an additional major arcana card here in this deck, and then Time in a Bottle, the High Priestess, the Chariot. Wow, this is really going to get you moving. The Two of Swords helps you make decisions, or how to use time and how to use movement. Okay, so I suspect this has a big impact on relationships, whether it's love relationships or others. What it is saying is that changes they will not require you to close out anything that is precious. So these are working very well together. That the relationships that matter to you and that you choose are not over, don't have to change. So if this is because, you're getting a change in a job and you're worried about friends that you're losing that you used to work with, you're going to remain friends with them. It just depends on what you want to do. With the wise cat reversed, it's sort of saying that think about it carefully as the changes occur, because you could like too quickly change and then miss some of the opportunities when there's unfinished business or whatever. It suggests to me that you aren't thinking about the strategy, you're just going with the change. So there is a little bit of do have a bit of a strategy if you can, so the choices feel a bit more complete. But the reality is things are not over from anything that mattered before. But like the wisdom here also about using time and connections is maybe the time in a bottle. This is suggesting your spiritual ability and your intuition will really help you with that. It will help you make decisions where it's not clear and help you move forward. There's definitely a feeling of moving forward, but there's something about your intuition and strategy that you can apply at the moment that means anybody who is precious and precious time that you have and the precious use of time, you can still keep going. So this change is not going to be incredibly disruptive. It's just going to be positive towards almost prioritization, I think. So let's see what is hidden and still needs to be revealed. The Fool reversed, Two of Wands reversed, Six of Coins reversed, and Time in a Bottle. The Happy Squirrel reversed. You've got a lot of the additional cards here. The Ace of Swords, the Four of Coins. Okay. So what is still to be revealed about the changes is that there's something about this that is changing and moving forward, but it's familiar. It's sort of like, this is a process you've been through before. You don't have to worry about that. So even though at first you're not going to be sure exactly what is the direction that you want, you're more than equal to what this needs to be because you understand the terrain. So if it's a new job and you're thinking, another new job, you know how to settle into a new job. If it's a new relationship or a new set of partnerships, there's something about this that is familiar. And there are connections potentially to the past. So you're not letting go of everything that's brought you here. You're just using it differently. There's a different direction ultimately coming, but it is one that will be familiar enough to you. You're not going into it naively. Happy Squirrel here reversed. This is not done by chance. This is strategic and it's meant to be. Its time is there. You probably this is like the green light. There's a new idea that connects to this and you will have the foundations that you need. So if you're again worried about everything changes too much and it doesn't feel stable, you will be able to make it feel stable. But this is not by chance. This has come about by your own sort of spiritual development. So what one small thing would really make this work well for you? Eight of Wands. Ace of Wands. So just go for it, pile 3. Seven of Coins. Yeah, just go for it because it's going to grow. Things are going to happen quickly. Do not worry about that. Do think a little bit strategically, but beyond that, you're going to find once you start doing that, this. It's it is different. It is change. It's momentum, but you know how to deal with time. You know how to protect what you need to protect. There's a lot of really positive energy here and it's going to grow. So whatever it is, a relationship, career, creativity, whatever it is, it's meant to grow and it'll grow fast from the initial idea through to what you want it to be after a period that things have taken time or been stuck. So it might be a little bit surprising because suddenly everything starts changing and everything all at once. And this might be why we've got time in a bottle, and everything seems to be happening at once. You think how do I prioritize and how do I make sure that what matters doesn't get lost in the mix? But it says just go for it because it's going to grow. It's going to stabilize and grow. And it'll slow down after the initial change towards something that you feel really comfortable with. Okay, so let's get some oracle parts of this. So let's have a look at personal predictions for each of these. So around changes, we have truth revealed and calm, peace, clear your mind. So This is to say that you're going to get the information you need. The truth is going to be revealed. You can be calm about this. It might happen all very quickly. It might be a bit surprising, but it's meant to make you feel calm and sure about what you're doing. And then when we look at time in a bottle, vitality boost. There's a lot of energy coming through with this, and happiness. Like, you'll be happy about it. It's good. And you can trust it. It's going to, like, just have a little bit of a strategy. If you get a sense, okay, I can sense this coming. I can sense that something's going to start moving. Everything's going to start moving soon. Have a strategy, but trust yourself, because in the end, it's heading towards something really good. Let's see what spirit or possibly past loved ones want to say to you about each of these. So around the changes that are coming up. Okay, leader. So this is you taking on a lead in your own life, being sovereign in your own life. Strength card sort of comes to mind. So some of you may have also connected to the strength, to pole 2. But there's definitely a sort of sense here of this is you taking on a leadership, a sort of a higher energy sort of thing. Trust in that. Could be if your father is passed, they could be connecting with you. Or Leo, the time of Leo could be very important, July and August. And what about time in a bottle? That might be sort of like a period when it's really going to speed up. Time in a bottle. Emotional overwhelm. Okay, like don't worry. Actually, like, yeah, the water in the bottle, you can save it. You can save the emotions. Don't feel overwhelmed. This is meant to be good. Like, so, but it may be kind of like almost too much. So this is how you kind of distill it and hold it and make it precious. But there is a water connection potentially. So maybe also water signs, or the letter D might be important. Okay, let's see some astro energy around it. So around the changing energy, we have Mars. Yeah, that makes sense. All this fire energy, action in Gemini, like communication, and so forth in the 8th house. Like, yeah, okay. This is all about shifting karmic energy, shifting spiritually, taking action, communicating with others about that sort of thing. And Gemini is very quick. There's a very quick mental energy operating here with Mars. And then time in a bottle, where you might go, slow down long enough for me to save what is precious. We get Pluto. So yeah, this is the emotional overlap. It's big in Pisces, like very big emotionally. In the 5th house, it could be about love, definitely, or romance. It could be creativity. But this is like, there is a lot of emotion, a lot of change energy. That's the thing to realize, that it's meant to be positive. It will be more stable than it feels at the beginning. But think about in like a Plutonian energy, when there's a lot of change, what do you keep precious? How do you keep it precious? Okay, let's get you just a couple of like signs or symbols, one for each, that could be synchronistic to let you know that you're in this energy and the good vibes are coming through. So around the changes, I mean, you probably know because it'll start going really fast, but let's just see what could turn up in dreams, or you could see on a t-shirt of somebody walking past you, or you could hear in a song lyric. Glass. Okay, so you could see beautiful glass. You might sort of feel like kind of a bit transparent. It could be glass, like time in a bottle. You might hear time in a bottle, actually, or you might hear heart of glass or something like that. So there's something about that, and I think it's about there'll be something visible actually about your change. So you'll know, because people will start to notice it. And then let's have a look at time in a bottle. Oh, liquor. Time in a bottle, liquor. Okay. You might see ads for liquor. You might sort of, hear songs about sort of types of liquor. You might think, it's a bit overwhelming, I just need a bit of a drink or something like that. So like pay attention to that, because there's something about, it's very much saying the emotional side of this you can bottle up. And the energy also, depending upon what kind of liquor we're talking about. Okay, to finish off, I'm just going to ask you to think of a number between 1 and 5, and that will be a tarot card to synthesize the message for you. So pause if you need to, because I'm about to deal them out. So 1 is the Empress, 2 is the Ace of Pentacles reversed, 3 is Devotion, 4 is 10 of Swords. It's funny that one fell with liquor, and 5 is 3 of Swords. Okay. So if you chose number one, this is really about growth, abundance, all of that energy coming in. All of this will be about that. There could be a very strong divine feminine or creative energy. It could for some of you be if you've been trying to become pregnant, for instance, that occurs. The big changes happen and then it's like, I want to cherish every moment of being a parent. So that's a possibility as well. If you chose number two, the actual outcome of this hasn't yet been formed, but it has a lot of potential and it will have a material outcome and it will grow. Remember it said it grows. So once you know what it is that you want to plant as a seed, it will grow. But right now you don't know. So think about that. That might be the strategy. If you chose number three, it's very spiritual. There's something very spiritual about this. The whole thing is probably spiritual and you're becoming more and more in alignment with what you are here to do in your life path. If you chose number four, this is the end of anxiety, though it could cause some anxiety as well. It's sort of like it's going to be better and good, but at first it might be a little bit worrying. Try and let that energy go. And as I say, it might be, just occasionally have a nice glass of wine or something and chill at the end of the day. That's a possibility with that as a way to just deal with any drama around it. And if you chose number five, this is letting go of some sadness that maybe kept you stuck. Some separation or whatever to move into something that matters. And look, it's fine if that's the case, if it's grief for losing someone in one level or another, to have a bit of nostalgia and hold that as time in a bottle and to remember the good times, because more good times are about to be formed in your life and you'll realize, okay, I can do this again. Like it's not just what I've lost, it's the next step. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.